Retro.
And welcome everybody to another episode of the Animanicast.
No matter. Are you pondering what I'm pondering?
I think so, Dr. Brainenstein. But isn't 11 just a fancy way of saying 1 teen?
And welcome everybody once again to the Animanicast. This is the podcast that is dedicated to the animated television series Animaniacs, as well as other shows in the Rugerverse, such as Pinky and the Brain, Tiny Toon Adventures, and Freakazoid. And today we're going to be talking about episode 11 of the Animaniacs Reboot. That's right, we're going to revisit all the cultural references and gags. And in the end, we're going to give this spooky episode a water tower rating. I am Joey, and joining me are my co-hosts, my brother Nathan.
Trick or treat. And trick or treat.
And across the country in Georgia, it's Kelly.
Hello.
Okay, well, welcome everybody. This episode's coming out on Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah, so to celebrate where we're celebrating, I'm so glad we're going back to having inappropriately put holiday episodes. Here we
It's
are.
like the complete opposite of...
Yeah, exactly. When did we talk about a Halloween episode of Animaniacs? Oh, of course you talk about it on Valentine's Day. But such is this show. You know, it just happens the way it happens. And yes, today we're talking about another Animaniacs Halloween episode. This one features the segments Phantomaniacs, Fear and Laughter in Burbank, Bride of Pinky, and Things That Go Bump in the Night. Yes. And if someone were to ask you about this spooky episode, what would you tell them, Nathan?
Oh, it's too scary. Stay home, kids, and watch the episode because it's spooky.
Oh, yeah. Stay home with your flashlight, with Mr.
Yeah.
Flashlight. And Kelly, what about you?
I would say there's actually a theme running through all the segments today.
Wow.
Even the theme song.
I know. That is themed out.
This is the most thematic episode, I think, of the season.
Well, it definitely made a difference for me, and I can't wait to get into the discussion of it. But before we do, we all know, of course, that this is from season 1 of the Animaniacs Reboot, which, of course, premiered on Friday, November 20th of 2020. But Nathan, why don't you tell us some November 20th trivia with the November... I can't even say it. It's the November trivia. See? I can't do it again. Oh my gosh. Try it one more time. Nathan, why don't you go ahead and give us some November 20th trivia by first giving us the November 20th trivia theme song.
You can try to say it, but you can't, because November 20 is hard to say. It's hard to say if your name is Joey.
And I was going to cut out all that mess up right there. But Nathan
Now you
had to
can't.
say...
No, you can't. Or I guess you could.
Well, you made it... Actually, you know what? You made it a little easier on me. Now I don't have to worry about editing that. So
Yeah, there
I
you
guess
go.
it's a blessing in disguise. Now I just have to be embarrassed about not being able to say November 20th trivia.
Yeah, there you go.
Anyway, Nathan, what happened on November 20th?
Oh, so many spooky things happened on November 20th. Like in 1993, Kayla Perkins was born, and she appeared in Bloody Sisterly Love and Kill Granny Kill,
Whoa.
Nightmare Fuel,
Oh.
The Killbillies, Santa Claus versus the Zombies, Halloween Homecoming, all these spooky movies she was
I've
in.
never heard of any of these films.
I've never heard of them either.
But man, she was born in 1993.
Yeah. She's
So
been in
she-
all these spooky
Wow.
movies.
That's something
Ming
else.
Na Wen, who's in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She was also born, but she was also in Prom Night, Spooky Prom Night.
She was not born in 1993, though. I
No,
think
she
she's a
was
little
born in 1963, so 30 years
Wow.
prior.
She looks great for...
Yeah, right. Frankenstein in 1931. This is very thematic. This didn't come out in 1930. This came out in 1931. but did not come out on November 20th, but November 21st. And I thought I should mention it because it's so close to the day.
Oh, it's also possible that some people might have snuck into the theater and started,
right?
somebody
I
back
came
then
out
in the
on a
early
midnight
30s.
showing, and
Yeah, those popular midnight showings in the 30s.
and watch it on the east or on the west coast.
Yeah, exactly. Everybody in the 1930s, they got on their phones and they all tweeted about it. It was big.
So they were hearing about it on the 20th, I'm sure. So there's
Yes.
your November 20th trivia.
Wow. Okay. Excellent. Thank you so much. Spooky edition. Yes. Thank you so much, Nathan, for that. Well, let's go ahead and get right into our episode discussion. And we're going to start off with Phantomaniacs. And Phantomaniacs was written by Wellesley Wild. It was directed by Katie Rice. And, basically, this is like a little movie that I've never seen. Poltergeist.
What?
I know. I haven't seen it yet.
It's spooky.
It's spooky. Well,
I've
love
also
it.
never seen
And
it. So.
it was produced by Spielberg.
And I've heard that basically a lot of people say it was kind of directed by Spielberg too in a lot of ways. I think
that's what's said. But he was filming E.T. actually at around the same time, nearby. So he was on set a lot, and I think wrote the story, or at least developed the story.
So he might have been like a co-director or something at the very sort
yeah,
of.
I mean, it depends on who you talk to. I mean, he definitely was part of the process, and a lot of the scary stuff in there was based on his own childhood fears, like clowns and trees and things like that.
All right. Well, anyway, this is a family is asleep. Mom and dad and little kids are all asleep in bed, and the TV is all staticky, and all of a sudden the Warners pop out and they're ghosts, and they're going around the house. They're wreaking havoc around the place, and at one point I think they even throw some underwear and it lands on the dad's head. The dad is very happy with that, which is kind of a little creepy. But at any rate, Wakko sees a stuffed clown, and the cat, and Wakko, of course, is scared by the clown. But the cat turns the TV off or switches something on the TV, which sucks the Warners back into the TV. But the little blonde girl, who looks very similar to the little blonde girl in Poltergeist, goes back and looks at the TV and says, what did she say? They're back, or they're here?
They're back.
Yeah, they're back.
But in the movie Poltergeist, she says they're here.
Okay, good. Okay, I was just making sure I'm not getting those two mixed up, and I basically did. But at any rate, they go right into the theme song. The theme song is purpley, which was kind of cool to see. It's the same basic theme song, except it looked very purple.
There's some added sound effects too.
There's some cool little ooh in the background.
It's time for Animaniacs, and we're zany to the max. So just sit back and relax. You'll laugh till you collapse. We're Animaniacs. Come join the one.
Goes right to the variable verse, which is "must eat brainy,"
Must eat brainy.
and
Which is also thematic.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they look pretty creepy eating Ralph's brain right there, or about to eat Ralph's brain, because they're like all zombie Warners. Then that's your opening right there. What did you guys think about it? Nathan, let's start with you.
It was fun. It really gets you in the spirit of Valentine's Day, or Halloween. But yeah, it's I mean, I've never seen Poltergeist, so I can't. Yeah.
What's wrong with the two of you?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Go watch it.
Okay, let's
sorry. I'll be
goodbye.
back. Pause it.
Wow, what a
That was really good. I was
really
a lot
good.
better than I
was
thought
so
it was.
scary.
Actually,
I was scared.
yeah.
He ripped his face off.
But I would see it again. That weird house.
Yeah, a burial ground.
Yeah.
We saw it all right.
You never told me. Yeah.
There you go. We saw it all. We're not.
Evidently, you know quite a bit about it now.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, I'm sorry you had to sit here for like 2 hours.
Would we lie? Would
yeah,
we just?
Kelly
would
was
we
just sitting here on the Zoom.
Yeah. Poor
waiting
Kelly
for us to get
2
back.
hours, but we're back. Anyway, Kelly, what did you think about the opening?
Oh, I liked it. I love Poltergeist. It's one of my favorite movies, and loved the reference to it. And yeah, it's all spooky and kind of goes along with everything.
Yes. Well, let's go ahead and continue our spooky discussion with the first segment, which is Fear and Laughter in Burbank. And Fear and Laughter in Burbank was written by Greg White, Kathleen Chen, and Brian Polk, and it was directed once again by Katie Rice. And Nathan, why don't you tell us what happens here in Fear and Laughter in Burbank?
All right. Well, it is Halloween time, and the Warners are trick-or-treating. They're starting off on a studio set, though. They're trying to get Dracula to give them candy. They're all dressed up as the Marx Brothers. We got Groucho and the other two, Harpo, and then what's her face?
We have Chico.
Chico. Dot is dressed as Chico. Anyways, they get kicked out of there, and then they go to the first house they see. Keep saying trick or treat, but no one gives them candy.
And
Trick or treat!
and
Trick or treat!
and
Trick or treat!
Because in front of it, there's a little bowl of candy. It says take one. So they all take a candy. Wakko's piece of candy, though, is this whole glob of gum candy, and it rolls out of his hand and down into a sewer.
Hello there, Wacky. I see you dropped your candy. Oh no. Here, you want it back? No thank you. It's been in the sewer.
What about the 5-second rule?
And then, we don't see it's a clown until he comes out right now. He's a clown. And of course, Wakko was afraid of clowns. But he decides that this clown is a cutie. And because his eyes remind him of his own eyes, because they could both go weird or something. I don't know.
Like fish eyes or something.
Fish eyes, yeah.
Wakko, a clown! Aren't you terrified of clowns? Clowns! I hate clowns! But this guy's a cutie. His eyes are like mine.
Post-recording note. Did you just hear what I just heard?
When the whippoorwill whippers in the wind can whip her back. Oh, nice and chubby baby.
That's right. Mr. Clown's song from Clownin' Out it makes an appearance in this episode. That's pretty cool. Although it is also important to note that right before that song is sung, Dr. Scratch and Sniff describes clownophobia and says that Wakko becomes...
That he becomes kooky and extremely unpredictable. Oh, I'd hate to see the clown that meets up with Wakko.
That's an important thing to note, I think, because Wakko doesn't necessarily become scared when he sees a clown, but acts out and actually, if anything, Nickelwise should have been scared of Wakko from the beginning, as we all know. Anyway, back to our previously recorded episode.
Oh, nice and chubby baby.
Well,
Either
this
way.
clown tells the Warners that his name is
Nickelwise.
Nickelwise,
Right.
and that
It was hard.
he's a dancing clown or something.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Number one, I don't blame you for not remembering his name off the top of your head, because they only call him, I think, Nickelwise at the very beginning, and then the
Yeah.
rest of it they start calling him different names as an ongoing joke.
I still think they should have called him Nickelback.
And I think they should have called him Pound Foolish.
Yes, because that's
Joey
the
doesn't get
opposite.
it.
Yeah.
Pennywise, Pound Foolish. I think it should have been, the writers, though. I don't think it would have
Yes.
been the Warners calling him Pound Foolish.
But then they wouldn't have been able to come up with all the different
That's
names.
true. We'd have to come up with different puns for
and they
Pound
probably
Foolish.
wouldn't have been as good. But I do agree with Kelly that they should have said Nickelback at some point, which I think that would have been really hilarious. Because that is truly the scariest thing out there. But what is a dancing clown? We talked about a dancing clown. He's a dancing clown. I have no idea if that's a reference to something in It, because I've never seen It, and obviously this.
Oh, you know what? I think he does do a weird dance in It.
Well, when I type dancing clown, when I type dancing clown on Google, it shows up.
Okay.
So it must be something to do with It.
If you type dancing Pennywise, there's a video of him dancing.
Yeah. It says,
I don't know.
Yeah, it says It on Wikipedia. It says it's the shape-shifting monster who usually takes the form of Pennywise, the dancing clown.
There we go. I thought maybe it was an
I don't
ABBA
remember
reference,
him dancing a lot, but
like a dancing queen.
That's a different movie.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I don't
anyway,
know.
okay. So they said my name's Nickelwise.
Nickelwise,
a dancing clown.
Yeah, he ends up stealing the soul of this kid dressed as Robin, and Ralph is also there, and he's like, "Watch out, he's spooky" or something, And then, but they're saying he's a fun dancing clown, but then when they turn around, he's gone. All that's there is balloons. Just 3 balloons are floating away. So they each follow one of the balloons. Dot first goes into a bathroom, and she looks into the mirror above the sink, and then she sees herself as an old lady.
What do you think, Dotto? Like what you see? Cuteness fades.
But she likes that. She's like, "Oh, you're going to be a wonderful cat lady."
What?
There you are, beautiful. Ready to adopt some cats? Oh boy, am I!
And Pennywise is not happy about that. So then we cut to Wakko, who sees a whole feast, a buffet of food in front of him on the table. So he starts eating all of it, but then it turns out that all the food is rubber plastic toys that just squeak, little squeaky toys that dogs chew on.
Chewy enough for you? No. What are you doing? It's plastic! It's plastic!
Wakko ends up eating Pennywise, who's the shape of a turkey. And then, he doesn't care. He's just eating all the fake food anyways. And he's whenever he hops, he makes a little squeaky noise, and that scares off Pennywise. So then we cut to Yakko, who's in an office building, and he's like, "Hey, this is great." And he starts making all these jokes to everything about like, "Hey, coffee maker, need some coffee?" And I'm a fun guy. Jokes that aren't necessarily very good,
No.
but he says it. And no one's laughing, obviously, because no one's there. And then the balloon pops, and he sees Pennywise. He's like,
Nickelwise, oh, perfect. Just when I needed someone to clown around with. Come on, man, say something. React!
He's not laughing at any of these jokes. And it turns out Yakko's tongue is all tied up, and he starts losing his soul, gets sucked in by Nickelwise, and right when it seems completely lost, that's when Dot and Wakko come in. Dot pulls his tail, which pulls his soul back into his body, and knocks Nickelwise over. And then they start like laughing around Nickelwise, and it makes him self-conscious, and he starts losing all his powers.
Need a hand? Sorry, need a boost, little buddy.
Which is kind of similar to what happens in the movie It, because he gets his power from scaring people, like a Bogart or something from Harry Potter. And they end up chasing him all the way back to the sewers, and he loses his clothes, and like, oh, it looks like he just disappeared. And it turns out, though, we got a kind of a twist ending here, because Ralph's in the bathtub. He's like, "Halloween can't get you in here, Ralph, with your flashlight." And he shines the flashlight on the little faucet, and out pops Nickelwise. It's scary.
And then it ends with like yeah, Ralph just screaming in horror.
Ralph in his little trailer house. Is that the same trailer house that he had in?
I don't know. I didn't see
Christmas
his wife
plots?
there to help him out or anything.
Yeah, or his son. Yeah.
But I don't know. Okay, well, at any rate, there you go. I was a little disappointed that there was no solution to this clown. He just kept doing bad stuff. But I suppose it's a spooky episode, and you can do that. So the reference, I mean, obviously the biggest one right there was It, the movie It. Yeah, and I've not seen either version. Yet. I know.
I've only
the original. The original had Tim Curry and Jonathan Brandis. Jonathan Brandis, if y'all remember, is from Sequest. May he rest in peace. But Tim Curry is amazing as the clown. He's scary, scary, scary.
See, and I remember that movie came out when I was in sixth, or I guess it was the TV miniseries. It came out when I was in sixth grade, so it was probably perhaps a perfect time for me to watch it. I know some of my other friends were watching it, but no, I had too many little brothers. Darn it. They always ruined it for me. Whenever I wanted to watch something scary, or get the chance to be exposed to something scary, I could never do it because they ruined everything.
It's based off a book, which is also scary. I've never read that book. I've seen the second half of the reboot. That's all.
The first half was better.
Oh, was it with the little kids? Yeah, I just saw the old kids version.
Yeah, you didn't see the Stranger Things part.
No, but they're in it too. They're in the second part too because they're right. We got to cut back and remember our little younger selves. Yeah.
Well, the title is as well is a reference to Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, which later became a movie.
I've seen that.
Oh, okay. You have seen that. Okay.
Yes.
There you go. Nothing really other than the title, I don't think is.
No, there's nothing else that's.
We mentioned the Marx Brothers right there. Very nice to see them dressed up as the characters that they are in many ways modeled after personality wise. Dot and Chico, not quite as much, but I will say that Wakko does a Gookie in this episode.
That's true.
The Gookie is originated with Harpo. So we do those kind of funny faces. So it was kind of cool to see Wakko doing a Gookie dressed as Harpo Marx. I was actually just watching
Full Circle.
Yeah, I was actually just watching some Night of the Opera the other night, and Marx Brothers is so funny. I will say that the only kind of disappointing thing I had was you had Yakko dressed up as Groucho, not telling jokes that just really weren't that funny in this one. You would think you guys to really let's crank up the Groucho, and at one point he does kind of a little finger motion like he has a cigar in his hand, but a lot of the jokes that Yakko was saying in this one really weren't, at least for me, weren't really hitting. I don't know,
but maybe that was because it was part of the clown's magic. I mean, because all the food that Wakko ate was chewy toys, like plastic toys.
Yeah, so maybe
that's why Yakko wasn't being funny.
So so therefore it's nothing was hitting because I guess
he was making Yakko
that's
tell
his
bad
fear.
jokes.
His fear is people not laughing at his jokes.
Right.
I thought the whole Dot's idea afraid of not being cute, and Wakko's afraid of not having food.
I thought that the whole idea of eating the fear was a little weird because it really felt like obviously he was eating their spirits more than anything. Like he sucks up that little boy's fear, I guess. But really, it looks like his ghost. And even like when he starts shrinking down at the end, he's spitting out these little ghosts.
They look like Casper.
The little Caspers are coming out, and it goes back into the little boy, and the boy says, "I've seen the beyond.
I've seen the beyond."
It's cute.
And kind of like Ralph Wiggum or something.
Yeah, it did sound like Ralph too.
And speaking of The Simpsons, of course, Dot did kind of the crazy old cat lady.
Yeah, she sounded like Agnes or whatever, like Skinner's mom.
But, yeah, it was a little combination right there, but it was nice to see Tress MacNeille doing the older Dot, which again didn't quite make sense because Dot is technically very old. And so her cuteness does not fade as Nickelwise would.
Yeah, she's already almost 100 years old. You know, she's 90 years old or something. So.
Although I do think it was kind of cool though when she swiped left, kind of like the dating apps or something like that, going to the side. I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool thing. She does that on the mirror. So you know, there was some good stuff going on. But what did you guys think about this? What are some things that you thought were funny? Kelly, let's start with you.
I thought it really felt like an old-fashioned Animaniacs episode where they were annoying, you know, their arch nemesis, but not in a mean, cruel way. They were just being themselves.
That's true. They were being kids, and while they did have some weird, close-ups of their faces, kind of laughing maniacally from his point of view, but again, it's kind of to show that they're scaring him, but it never felt like they were trying to, be mean or anything.
Yeah, they're yelling like, "We want to be your friend." Like, well, let's play together.
Yeah, I really wish they could have called him be our friend. Like maybe they,
special friend.
Yeah, be our special friend. They did give him a lot of different nicknames in it. They called him. Let's see, what did I write down? Nickel Pie and Nickel Eyes, Nibble Wide, Nickel Wipe, and Knicker Butt is some of the things they were calling him. And there might be one or two more in there as well, but. They did call him those things, but Nathan, what did you think of the first one here?
Yeah, it was fun. It's I like that it had a theme to this episode of It, and I had seen that movie, or at least half of a movie, so I got some of the references to it, which was nice. I don't know, I overall enjoyed it. I was a little sad that Yakko's jokes aren't funny, but I like Kelly's theory that it's all just.
But even the beginning though, like when he says Halloweeners and he goes, "Good night, everybody," and I was like, I don't like
that if Yakko says "Good night, everybody" to his own
joke.
You can't say like it's like Michael Scott walking in and saying like, "You got to put your mouth on that." That's what she said.
Yeah, it's like it doesn't count if you say it. And
you can't say the
exactly.
Well, I guess some folks just aren't Halloweeners. Get out, everybody!
So if Wakko said, "Oh, look at all the Halloweeners," it would be funnier if he said "Good night, everybody" after that. So I just don't think they wrote Yakko as good as they should have. I think Yakko was done a disservice in this one because everything else looked pretty good.
I did like that they addressed Wakko's fear of clowns.
Yeah, even though it's just kind of tossed out for this case because you can't necessarily have Wakko be scared the entire line.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sure they were like, "Oh, we can't do this episode because Wakko's a and like." Oh,
but it was nice they acknowledged it.
Yeah,
for continuity.
I'd rather they say something about like, "Hey, aren't you afraid of clowns?" Like,
and they did it in the poltergeist thing at the very beginning too. So the clownophobia is still there. It's just and it's ironically when it's a very very creepy clown, it doesn't affect him.
Well, like we were talking about the original show because before the clownophobia episode, they're in a giant hot air balloon that's shaped as a giant clown, and we're like. Did something happen with this balloon?
In the original series, before the clownophobia,
so they didn't know it was.
And maybe Wakko
it wasn't canon yet.
Maybe Wakko didn't realize the balloon was a clown.
Maybe something terrible happened on that balloon ride that caused him to have fear of clowns.
That's where it all started. When they left the camera pans away. Something bad happened.
Acknowledging continuity is just nice. So
okay. Yeah. Well, I did have one question, and maybe you guys know the office that Yakko goes into. It says 2R.
I noticed that.
What the heck does that mean?
I don't know.
Is it? I was thinking maybe it's a stage number like 2R, but that doesn't even make any sense because it's like it's the Warner Brothers logo, and so anybody out there, if you know what 2R is.
Maybe it's a reference to It, something in It, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Because they did lots of references to It, like plenty of
Like he says, "Hey, wacky," instead of
"Hiya, Georgie."
Hiya, Georgie, and say "Hiya, wacky." Yeah.
The whole Candy going into the sewers, like almost
the balloons.
Yeah, like there's so many things that are. Yeah. So if you're a big fan of it, then you got like, oh man, there's so many things.
And whoever did the wiki was apparently a big fan of this episode because they put a lot of stuff in the description of this episode.
7 paragraphs or something.
Wow. With animated GIFs and everything. Or GIFs, whatever you want to say. Animated pictures. All in there. So whoever did the wiki, boy, oh boy, good job. You went all out.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't read it all yet, but I'm sure it's very good.
Yeah, I haven't read it all either. I'm just like, wow. They wrote an entire script again. Okay, but just a summary. I will say one other weird kind of disappointment with. I guess Ralph was with that little boy dressed as Robin. If he's dressed as Batman, or maybe it's just a coincidence.
It might be a coincidence.
But Ralph didn't have the Batman symbol on. Like, it's like,
well, that's probably costs more money to get a Batman symbol on here.
I guess he went to the generic store.
Yeah,
he got bat suit guy.
Batman. Wait,
bat person.
Yeah,
with no Batman symbol on it. So poor Ralph, he can't afford it. Okay.
Some said it couldn't be done. Some said it shouldn't be done. But the host of the Animanicast said, we're doing it anyway. That's right. It's the Animanicast Patreon page. After more than 4 years of podcasting about Animaniacs, the Animanicast is asking for you to become a patron and pledge your support. Your support not only helps cover the cost of podcast hosting, but it also gives you an opportunity to receive some exciting rewards. Some rewards include behind-the-scenes audio and video, voting rights that determine which episodes the Animanicast will cover, video chats with the host of the show, Animaniacs vinyl decals sent right to your home, and much, much more, including exclusive episode commentaries from the creator of Animaniacs, Tom Ruger. For more information, go to patreon.com/Animanicast.
Let's go ahead and get to our next segment. It's a Pinky in the Brain segment. It's called Bride of Pinky.
Hey, Dad, this is Pinky, and you're listening to Animanicast. You know why? Because you're going to take over the world.
Narf.
And Bride of Pinky was written by Greg White and Wellesley Wild. It was directed by Katie Rice. Kelly, why don't you tell us what happens here in Bride of Pinky?
Okay. It's basically a parody of Frankenstein. And the brain creates a monster to he wants to scare the village. It's funny because Pinky shows up and he's like basically looted the dead, and he says it's amazing how much stuff the dead leave behind. But he tells Brainenstein that it's a beautiful castle, and Brain goes, oh yes, I only employed the top masons, those schooled in the latest techniques of wallstone craft.
By the way, I've probably been in here 1,000 times, but I'm always amazed at how beautiful your castle is.
Thank you, Pico. I employed only the top masons, those schooled in the latest techniques of wallstone craft.
This is funny because the author of the book Frankenstein is Mary Shelley, but her mother was named Mary Wollstonecraft.
Oh.
And yeah, so her mother was a feminist and a writer, and I think Mary Shelley's full name was like Mary Wollstonecraft Godwin, I think. And then she got married to Percy Bysshe Shelley, and then she became Mary Shelley. And so that's how people know her as.
I was wondering why he had to emphasize that. I was just like, okay, Stonecraft, okay, got it, whatever.
Yes.
But very cool.
Yes. Pinky falls in love with the the monster. It's a female monster, and she's made up of all these different pieces and components. And he calls her Drusilla because that was the name he saw on a tombstone. And so it's like an old-fashioned kind of name. Of course, makes me think of Drusilla from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is also spooky. Ooh. So and Pinky's absolutely infatuated, and he tells her, elefante, so I think he's trying to say enchanté.
Yes.
Isn't she horrible?
Yes, horribly beautiful.
What?
Hello, I'm Pigor. Elefante. I shall call you Drusilla, because it's a girl name I saw on a gravestone.
But there's this whole little bit where there's a song about lakes are fun, and they're on a boat in the lake and splashing in the lake. And
Cause lakes are fun, cause lakes are fun, cause lakes are fun. See, my lake is the only one made of water living in the sun. Cause lakes are fun.
he's just, it's that soft romantic lighting and kind of fuzzy and this little romantic interlude. And Brainenstein gets mad at Pigor, which is Pinky / Igor, and he says, "You have befouled my creature with your soft and imbecilic heart." So then he decides he has to create another monster. And meanwhile, Pinky has asked Drusilla to marry him, and Brainenstein says, "Yeah, I can see that. We'll have the whole village here. They're going to be plied with meat and romantic feelings, and then they'll all be here so I can take over them." And the wedding's happening. Brain didn't want to attend, Brainenstein, but the monster Drusilla tied him to her bouquet, so he really had no choice. And Drusilla's last name happens to be Salma Gundy. And Pinky said, "I didn't know you were Italian." And Brain says, "Well, actually, it's just the spleen in the feet," which I thought was really funny. And then when she takes her veil off, because she's all dressed up for the wedding, the villagers decide, get that mob mentality, kill the beast.
She's a monster!
Get out your pitchforks!
I brought my pitchfork.
Oh, stop trying to make pitchforks happen, Dave.
Then a woman says, "Well, we shouldn't judge a book by its cover." And then someone else says, "What's a book? This is a book. Kill it with fire." And so they destroy the book. They just don't know much. And then they start attacking Brainenstein, because ever since he's moved into the neighborhood, he's brought property values down. And then he says, "Next thing you know, you'll accuse me of driving up the interest rates." And somebody's like, "I've got a thatched roof cottage I'm trying to flip."
We're settling this once and for all.
I've got a thatched roof cottage I'm trying to flip.
Brainenstein and Pigor run up the stairs and flip the switch to bring to life the second monster. But the wrong switch gets flipped first, and all these balloons come down, which were supposed to be for the father-daughter dance. So then they flip the other switch that says monster. And the second monster comes to life, and he's got like long flowing hair. And so Drusilla sees him and falls madly in love. He waves his hair about, he's like Fabio or something. And so they start kissing sort of weirdly, and they got tentacles now and all sorts of weird stuff. And then the new monster carries Drusilla out the window, and then they like lie in pieces on the ground, and they're still alive because they're still kind of dead. Brain, bless his heart, tries to be sympathetic, and he actually does say, I'm sorry, Pinky, but Pigor, I'm sorry, but if it makes you feel better, the average lifespan of the laboratory monster is 3 months at best. So it was going to end in tragedy anyways.
Either way, it would have ended in unbearable tragedy. Such is the nature of life, I suppose. Suffering and then darkness.
And Pinky's like, you're not really helping. But it was really sweet because Brain brought him like this little thimble full of some kind of drink. And so he's trying to make him feel better. And that was it.
Some cheese-flavored wine, perhaps, or something. I don't know. I just looked up the word Salma Gundy. And it's
like food or something,
it's food.
Right?
It's a dish of chopped meat, anchovies, eggs, onions, and seasoning. So, yeah. It's just a big old dish of just stuff. Kind of like cold cuts and everything that you would just I was not hungry looking at the Pinky's Bride though. But let's talk about some of the references. Obviously, you got the Frankenstein, you got the Bride of Frankenstein in there. I don't really think that. I mean, the Warners showed up in it, which was kind of cool. They did I guess that was their first cameo in another cartoon in this reboot.
Well, there haven't been many others besides Pinky the Brain, so
exactly. But I believe Brain calls them layperson detritus, I believe. Layperson, obviously, I think is, another word for just a common person. And then detritus is, it means waste. So it's just like, waste of humans or human waste stuff, whatever. At any rate, let's see. There was some interesting, I guess, possible film references right there, especially with forced perspective. At one point, Brain it looks like he's just as big as
I was
the bride.
confused about that.
And it was in the trailer. And when we saw the trailer, I thought, oh, that's interesting. They have a human, or at least part human monster looking to be the same size as Brain. How are they going to do that? And no, it's not. It's just,
Brain's really close.
Yeah. At first I put, it's a good use of forced perspective. And then the more I thought about it, I was like, well, I don't even know if it necessarily works. It's more of an interesting use of forced perspective than anything. Yeah. Because it turns out that no, she is very big, compared to them. And, it's just, the camera was just at a good angle right there to make it look like they were the right size, same size. I mean, yeah, there was a musical reference I noticed. There's a few little things that I know the Bernsteins put in when they're in church. I heard a couple hymns that I would sing in church, but when the new monster and the new Frankenstein monster and the Pinky's Bride, Bride of Salma Gundy, whatever, is they start kissing. The song that plays is "I Love You Truly," which I remember from hearing from "It's a Wonderful Life." And that was in there, so I was like, "Oh, cool." I always like it when I hear like old classic songs and I actually recognize them. Mm-hmm. Which, as we said before when we had the Bernsteins on, somebody really needs to just, the music nuts out there. Really, those music guys, they need to go out and figure out a wiki for all the references of those, because there's a lot.
They can add it to the current wiki.
Yeah, add it to to the current wiki. But
you don't have to create a new wiki. Yeah, just add the music section.
I want an Animaniacs music wiki. It'll be kind of like anyway. What are some things that you thought were cool in this cartoon? Nathan, let's start with you.
I liked how mostly supportive Brain was. I mean, like, he didn't want to go to the wedding, but he was still saying, like, yeah, just get him bruschetta and some
stuffed mushrooms.
Yeah, like, it's fine.
Yeah.
I wonder if the father-daughter dance, would that have been with Brain and Drusilla?
That is a good question. I guess it would have been. Would have been Brain and Drusilla, yeah.
And he did kind of walk her down the aisle. I mean,
sort of. He was also the best man.
He was the best man, and
he did walk her down the aisle.
Father of the bride.
Against his wishes, he walked her down the aisle.
And I think they are technically married, right? I mean, like, they had witnesses.
Did they finish it? I don't think they.
The only thing they didn't do was kiss, but I don't think you have to actually kiss to be married.
Did they say "I do"?
They did.
Oh no!
Right, and they said, "Now I now pronounce you mouse, and."
That's true.
Because that was the whole thing in Princess Bride. Is like, if you didn't say it, you didn't do it.
Oh, man and wife.
I'm pretty sure they did. Although, of course, Drusilla can't say any words, so it was just word.
Well,
it was
she's
an
dead.
acknowledgement of.
Well, she's dead anyway, and also
You could be
it was
affirmative. Yeah.
Also, the alternate universe where Pinky and the Brain are mad scientists.
Exactly.
So I don't think we need to worry. Like, sure, he got married.
He also said, "That's my wife," which could be something like The Fugitive, or I'm trying to think of things they say that.
Sure,
that's my wife. John Mulaney says it in his stand-up, and
okay,
and that's what it reminded me of. Therefore, they're married.
I think I figured out the claw, the big giant paw that she has that they put the ring on. Is that a sloth paw, perhaps? It kind of
maybe.
I thought it was a sloth when I first saw it.
Yeah, I was looking at that going, what animal is that thing? It's really grotesque.
She's got a bare foot. I don't even know what her mouth is, though. Like a dragon? Like
a lizardish
dinosaur
thing. Yeah. With a monkey foot on one thing. And you said, what was the other one? I saw a chimpanzee foot on one thing. And
then she has like a bird for her other arm, right?
Like
it's almost like
arm.
a wing, like a chicken wing without feather.
Yeah. So and there wasn't too much gross stuff in it.
There was, I don't know. I think
cage and the finger,
the rib cage, finger coming off, the mouth coming off, and then jumping out of the window and feet coming out of the window, and Brain's trying to during the Lakes Are Fun song. So there was a handful of gross things, but at least it's like in a Halloween episode.
Exactly.
I guess.
That's why I think it was forgiving a lot of it, because it was just like, even though I was like, ugh, like I put all caps gross when she hugged the villagers or something and they went into the rib cage.
Yeah,
like, that's gross. I didn't like that. I did like, however, when the Brain said, I think he had to go make another monster, or he has to pull the switch, and then he goes, again.
Yeah, I really like his
turns around and just with this crazy face.
And lightning strikes thunder.
That was cool.
And funny.
Yes, and funny. It was cool and funny.
Dr. Brainenstein, you're my best man.
No, Pico. I must stay here to flip the switch and bring life to my horrible creation. Again!
Right.
Kelly, anything else in this you liked?
I thought it was funny when Brain referred to Pigor's inexplicable Cockney accent.
So there was a lot of good stuff in this one right here. Well, it all closes off with one more segment, and it's called Things That Go Bump in the Night.
And now, Things That Go Bump in the Night.
And Things That Go Bump in the Night was written by Kathleen Chen and Brian Polk, and it was directed again by Katie Rice. And in Things That Go Bump in the Night, it's a bunch of different monsters. I think there might be 7 of them, perhaps. Looking at the closed captioning, I think they went up to 7, perhaps. It's these different monsters that are bumping into each other and saying, "Hey, stop bumping into me, and stop licking me, or keep licking me," or stuff like that. Which is all really kind of weird and gross.
Some of us don't have tails. Don't hear us bragging about it. Oh wow! Look who showed up and decided to be passive aggressive.
There's not much to it, but there's a really cool Vincent Price impression from the narrator, who we believe is probably Maurice LaMarche, although it's not said in the credits. But it was, I would think, it was kind of spooky-ish. It had, I guess these are technically new characters. It has nothing to do with either the other Animaniacs segments, other than it's spooky.
I don't think these will be returning characters.
I do not think so. I don't think so at all. But it really did feel like, yeah, this is the variety show aspect thing that when we saw interviews with the showrunners and stuff, they were saying that they liked about the idea about doing Animaniacs was a variety show thing. And this definitely did feel like a variety show skit kind of thing. Again, not necessarily anything I'd see I would think I'd see in an Animaniacs episode, but it was nice, I guess. What did you guys like this at all? Kelly, let's start with you.
Yeah, I mean, it was okay. It was kind of different.
Nathan?
Yeah, I mean, it was fine. It's like as you're saying, as you're watching it, you'd like if someone put it on, I'd be like, "Is this Animaniac?" I wouldn't think that right away.
Exactly,
Obviously,
not at
but,
all.
I didn't hate it or anything. So
Yeah,
it's,
you were
it's
just like,
fine.
oh,
It's
okay.
like, oh, it's cute.
I
It
don't want to
reminded me
hear.
of
What did it
Pee Wee
remind you of?
Herman. Pee Wee Herman going around. And
Oh,
you see his eyes.
Yeah. I forgot my headlight glasses.
Ah.
Man, I remember watching Pee-wee's Big Adventure in that part where he puts on his headlight glasses and they show all the animals around him. We would put that little part on pause just to see the majority of the animals were all stuffed.
Yeah, there's so many stuffed animals. Yeah.
Taxidermy animals. There's like some live raccoons they put in there or something, but for the most part, it was just a bunch of dead animals. But it was See, now I like this one more. I wish they turned on the light. That would have been.
Oh, see, yeah.
See, that's what they should. Well, honestly,
it makes
that's what
me
they
enjoy
should have
it.
Done.
Just thinking of that movie. Yeah, just.
Well, I don't want to hear anybody say that the reboot doesn't have filler in it, though, because this really did. It kind of felt like a little bit of filler.
Yeah, I mean, they could have cut it and no one would have known, obviously.
Seems like to me, like they could have they could have switched the segments around a little bit, dropped this one, and then instead it closed with the Warners being terrorized by Dracula from a few episodes back.
Oh, yeah, that would have been a better closer, I think.
I think so, too. As nice as this one was, it just didn't really feel like it necessarily belonged in Animaniacs. So it was fine, but it was just, eh. Well, I guess let's go ahead and get to our water tower rating. Oh, I forgot one thing before we get to our water tower rating. The brain, Kelly, did you mention this? That he says iconoclast? I'm an
Oh, no, I didn't, but I noticed that.
Yes.
The only menace here is you, Dr. Brainenstein.
I'm not a menace. I'm an iconoclast.
From Puppet Rulers, of course, from the original. So that was nice right there. Anyway, out of 5 water towers, how many would you give this episode of Animaniacs Reboot? Nathan, let's start with you.
Me? Okay. I'm gonna go with 4.5 because there's a theme. I'm taking off half a thing because it was a little gross at times, but overall it was pretty funny. I liked there was some very funny parts in Pinky and the Brain, and it was kind of scary. It was a little bit scary actually. When Nickelwise comes out at the end, it's a little bit of a jump. I'm sure there's someone in the world that was really scared of that, you would think. And Poltergeist at the beginning is cute. I don't know. So yeah, 4.5.
All right. Kelly, what about you?
I will give it 4. I mean, there was no Spielberg in it, but there was Poltergeist, which was Spielberg adjacent. But yeah, it had a running theme. The Warner siblings segment felt very old school, felt like the Warners we first were introduced to way back when. It was a good segment. Pinky and the Brain was really strong and had a lot of great lines. And just from beginning to end, it was a pretty strong episode. One of the best.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is this might be. I still haven't seen the last 2 episodes of the reboot, but this might be, unless the last 2 are really, really good, I think this might be my favorite one of the first season of the reboot. It had a strong theme. I will take it off a little bit because I don't think Yakko was as funny as he should have been. And I didn't like how the clown wasn't really affected that much at the end. He was still going around, and yeah, I know it's a Halloween episode and spooky wooky and all that stuff, but come on, I need a nice clear cut ending to this.
You just wanted Mr. Clown, the whole,
that would have been helpful too. Boy, if they have Mr. Clown,
then you would have given it 5.
I mean, if Mr. Clown was able to scare Nickelwise away once and for all, Now that would have been a 5-star one for me, but definitely from the reboot, this has been the best so far. I'm going to give it 3.5. I enjoyed it, but I just had little problems with the tone here and there. But it was, like you guys said, definitely the closest we've gotten to an original episode of this of. Cast is not endorsed by Warner Brothers or Amblin Entertainment and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Animaniacs, Tiny Toon Adventures, Freakazoid, the Warner Brothers logo, all names, pictures, and sounds are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of the Animanicast unless otherwise indicated.
Prepare to be overtaken.
Those were for the father-daughter dance.